welcome to the Burning River Browns Talk. I am Lou Marconi at Marconi251 on Instagram, at Marconi1973 on X. My guest today, special guest, Sherry's not going to be here for circumstances beyond my control, but I have a guest here today. It is Mike from the Bearded Browns podcast. Mike, thank you for joining us. Pleasure to have you, man. Go ahead and plug your stuff.
Absolutely. My name's Mike from the Bearded Browns podcast. We are on all the popular social media we're on X, YouTube, Facebook, everything you can imagine. We're on there, just talking Cleveland Browns, trash talk, good, bad, everything. We do it all. You know how it is.
Yeah. We'll tell the story. I just told her she can come on without that stuff on. She can come on, but we're not letting that happen.
It's not even that week anymore. Not till next week.
Mm-hmm.
Still don't wear it. Sorry. But yeah, excuse me. We're on everything. YouTube's our biggest concern right now. We're trying to get some more followers on there. Obviously, YouTube's a pain in the ass. You know that, but
yeah, because we have YouTube with Fanatical Elves Network, which is a subsidiary of the Fans First Sports Network. It is a pain. It's a huge pain to do this, and hey, I understand YouTube's. Plus, I have a show for Rumble called the Sunday Stew Pot, which is not really sports related. It's just another show I do, and just having followers on Rumble.
Yeah, we're on everything. We've been around for about almost a little over a year now. Everything's going well. You got your haters and you got your lovers. That's how it is as a Cleveland Browns fan in general. You would imagine, right?
Yeah. It's we deal with it, and the thing is, I don't think people that aren't from here quite grasp the passion we have for this team. That's why sometimes when GMs and coaches come in and they do these press conferences, they don't quite get it. You know what I mean? So
I think they know to tread lightly, because I think that's another reason we're not getting much information from them the past couple of years. When something happens, like right now, look at the JOK incident. We're not getting anything out of that. And why are you guys so quiet about it? Let us know. This Cleveland fan base, the real fans are real. You can't mess around with us. Like, just let it out.
I can give you an answer to that. I will give you an answer to that. I will completely give you an answer to that. Because if anything gets said, it can be taken and twisted and blown out of proportion by local sports media. And you know who I'm talking about. Not everybody does it. The people know who I'm talking about. For instance, I'll use an example. This same guy asked Kevin Stefanski when he gave up the play calling to Dorsey. He asked him, "Is this a Hail Mary?" And Stefanski kind of went, "No, it's not." He kind of laughed it off. Do you remember that? What did the headline of his article said? Browns throw a Hail Mary. And it's like, oh, for God's sakes.
You know what's funny about that? Like the day before Kevin Stefanski handed over play calling to Ken Dorsey, I called it on our show. I'm like, just let it happen. You have nothing to lose right now. At this point, just let it happen. Yeah. Everybody wants it. Do it. You have nothing to lose. And the next day it happened.
Yeah.
Insane. I'm not usually good at guessing like that, but I got lucky once.
Yeah. Well, just to give you another idea too, people because I lived in North Carolina for 6 years almost, and I wear my Browns stuff. I go to Browns backers bars. I went to see Draft Day at the theater, and there's all Browns fans wearing their stuff. I'm not kidding. I mean, it was just really interesting to see this. And if I wore like a Browns t-shirt in the grocery store, somebody would yell at me.
Right.
Like, how can you support that team? and I looked at him. I was like, dude, do you know I could kick the shit out of you, right? And I just said, this is the United States of America. I could support any team I want. This is a true story too. My wife even got mad because it takes a lot to piss her off. We had something going on with our dish service or whatever. I'm not going to say who it was, which company it was, but the guy came over to try to fix it. And I had on a Gene Hickerson Hall of Fame t-shirt, a Hall of Fame guard, and just something like that. And then he made a joke about it. He goes, "Oh, that's a horrible shirt." In my house.
See ya.
I was livid. And I said, I was supposed to call this number and give him a review. So I did it right in front of him. I said, "So what happens if I give you a bad review?" "Oh, it'll be bad on me." And I was like, "Okay. Oh, you didn't identify yourself. You just started working, right?" "Okay, no, you didn't do that." No, he was horrible and he was rude to me. Here's a 0 out of 10. He said anything less than a 10 is considered a failure. And I said, I expect a call from your supervisor.
Isn't there a famous saying that's FAFO?
Yeah. Yeah, FAFO. That's exactly what he did. And he was shocked. I did it because I said, you understand you're in somebody's house. You're under my roof. Whether you like my team or not is irrelevant. How you feel is irrelevant. Shut your mouth.
I get it. Football fandom goes a long way. We know it as Cleveland fans. I'd say we're one of the best damn fan bases in the world by far.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So you don't come into a Cleveland Browns fan's house talking crap. It's just that you don't do that. That's simple.
No,
You
I wouldn't do that in the Steeler fans' house. I'm in your house. I'm a guest in your house. I'm not going to say anything.
Here, like Buffalo, Steelers, Browns, there's certain fan bases you just don't mess with. And definitely Cleveland is not one of them.
Yeah. So anyway, back to what I was saying was somebody tried to say, like, how can you be passionate? How can you do this? Or there was an article because I write for Fans First Sports Network, and there was an article did you see Brent Larkin's article on Cleveland.com last Sunday?
I don't think so. No.
Did you hear about it? Like, he was an old Cleveland press reporter. So this guy was just old, and he was talking about how it'd be economically disastrous for a dome. And to do the Brook Park project, to do this, because it's going to take stuff away. These are events that could happen downtown at Playhouse Square or at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse or other places. And I'm like, you can't host a Super Bowl in Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. But that's beyond the point. But he was saying, he had some professor that's been retired for 10 years saying, yeah, it would be economically disastrous to take business away from downtown. So I did a counter article in like 400 words, basically tearing apart his argument. That is the most activity I had by far, clicks on any article. And I said, let's just be honest about the dome. That's all it said, because they were talking about state, like taxpayer money being used to build the stadium, which, if you read the public open letter that the Browns sent to fans, it explains what the plan is. It explains that 2/3 of it's already privately funded. So he said $1 billion for a dome. 1.2 out of the 3.6 would be done through some sort of loan or bonds from the state.
Private investors.
And there's 2/3 of it's from private investors, and the rest, and that would be paid back by a usage tax on the complex itself. Through the allotted time it's supposed to be paid back, because you're not just going to get 1.2 billion unless you start using it. So you need the money to build it. Then once they use it, you pay it back at the interest rate you agreed upon. That's all it is. So this guy didn't know what he was talking about. He had no clue about it. And I actually put out his article. I put out everything else. And people are like, so no taxpayer money? I said, no, if you're against taxpayer money going to a stadium, you'll be against the stadium that we're at right now. That's all taxpayer money. And it's falling apart. It was built like shit. It's built on a 93-year-old foundation. And I even said, I used these exact words in my article. I said, if that were a house on the real estate market, it would be considered a money pit.
Oh, yeah. So I went to the Minnesota Vikings preseason game. I'm sorry, go ahead. Do you have more?
No. Go ahead. Well,
my wife and I went to the Minnesota Vikings preseason game.
I was there.
And we were in the upper level. My buddy gave me his season tickets. He's like, you guys want to go? And it worked out perfect because we were on the boat that day and just wound up working out perfect. We were downtown. I'm like, yeah, let's go. So we go and we're walking through, and like, as you know, like once you get up higher and higher, it gets worse and worse. Like, I'm not even going to say that it's because of the lake. It's just like they've done so much to the stadium that you think, and they really haven't. Once you look at it from all angles, I've sat everywhere in that stadium, and it is garbage. The best seats I've sat in were the Baltimore Ravens game, the last Baltimore Ravens game. We sat in club seats, and those were by far probably the best seats I've ever had. But all in all, that stadium's
the most expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, but the stadium's just falling apart. Like, the club seats are the way to go if you're going to do it. But
it's an estimated $1.5 to $2 million to just keep it up to code, much less maintain it. And the city of Cleveland is still paying on it. I mean, it was built in a rush 30 years ago. They knew it when they did it, and just like the team was put together in a rush when it went to the expansion era. I even did an article about that. I called it the death penalty. That's what we got.
Exactly what we got.
Yeah, so it took us 2 decades to even have some level of success, which is 2 playoff appearances and a playoff win, and a group of a coach and a GM with a winning record going into this season. And I'm just.
Here's my outlook on a stadium. People are bitching and moaning about it being moved out of Cleveland. Not only do people not know that that land was annexed to Brook Park years and years ago, you can literally throw a rock into Cleveland. It is that close. Get over it. It's a dome. It's going to bring revenue to not only Cleveland, but Brook Park as well, and all of Ohio. Just get over it. Just build the damn dome. I mean, I don't know what you guys say that, excuse me, the weather helps us. Look at our record. Our record shows the weather does not help us in any way, shape, or form at all. Why build it? Why stay outside? It doesn't. Look at the Pittsburgh game. When the weather got bad, they started coming back. Yeah. Let's not build a dome and say the weather helps us with a second string quarterback, which I love, by the way. I'm not going to deny that.
Oh, Winston? Yeah, people like him. He's a likable guy. Yeah. Well, we beat him with DTR last year at our stadium.
Remember when DTR beat the San Francisco 49ers?
That was PJ Walker. That's
PJ Walker.
PJ Walker. Yeah. So I mean, well, it just goes to show that there's guys on this team that we have some level of talent. And I was just listening to a reel today, not really a video today, about the 2023 draft in the offseason, how it really wasn't that bad. I'm actually, outside of Siaki Ika, there's guys contributing from that draft on this team, including Diabate and Hickman, that are like role players that were undrafted free agents. Said that's a pretty good haul. So, but people are saying that, plus getting Jerry Jeudy for like nothing, that's actually producing now. A lot of the shit earlier in the season, there was 2 reasons that we were struggling. Besides Watson, okay, that was a reason, but the line was not healthy. The healthiest we had that line was when we had DeJuan Jones at left tackle, and we had everybody else back, and we played Baltimore and we won.
So here, I'm not a fan of Deshaun Watson right now. By far, I don't ever see a franchise going 3 years in. Unfortunately, we have a 5-year contract. I don't see any other team going in with a contract like this and letting this disaster happen. But my only downfall, and looking back right now as to what could be, my biggest concern is we put Kevin Dorsey up in a booth. Nick Chubb came back, and he's progressing week by week by week. He's getting better every week. We got rid of Amari Cooper, which was a huge target for Deshaun Watson. It seemed he didn't want to target anybody else. So what would Deshaun Watson be like right now with the way this, and the offensive line came back? They're subpar healthy. You know what I mean? It's what do you think Deshaun Watson could have done now? And I'm not sitting there and groveling for the dude, but
well, I think it would have been better. We were down to our 4th string center against the Raiders. I mean, I was trying to point this out, and at some guy I flipped out because they're trying to blame it on play calling. I said, no, we had the shittiest line. I mean, we didn't have people on the line, and he didn't have time to throw. It's like anyway, that's neither here nor there. I don't know. I think the thing that Watson does that people have to realize, he's always held the ball a long time. He's always taken sacks. He was doing it worse this year. He was holding it longer than usual, but we still led the league in sacks and quarterback pressures and drop passes with him. So I don't know. I don't
want to say this is Joe Flacco-esque, but it kind of is. You bring in your second string quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
He's a 30-year-old quarterback that's doing pretty well.
He's not 40. Yeah, he's still at that cusp. I think he's our bridge guy for the next couple of years. This is a thing I'm thinking. What's that kid's name in Penn State? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I can't remember.
He's from Medina. He's from Medina. I'll look him up. Go ahead. Because I think he'll be drafted next year.
Honestly, right now, I don't think we are in the quarterback drafting thing. I would say stick with Jameis Winston for at least a year, if not 2.
Drew Aller. Drew Aller.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Drew Alar. I think it's
Alar. Is it Alar? Okay.
I
Because
think so.
I remember when Ohio State played Penn State. And the thing is, he needs another year of college to get ready for the NFL.
Speaking of college, real quick, it is 9:16 and Michigan still fucking sucks.
They suck. Yeah, that's another thing about Sherry.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I just told her Michigan does fucking suck. You're right.
But yeah,
it's going to be a fun game tomorrow. It's
It
going to be
is.
fun.
It's,
Well, it's funny because
biggest rivalry, man.
Michigan people are trying to talk trash, like, "Oh, you guys got the highest payroll ever." We're playing within the rules. You didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to get smacked. They're going to get the smackdown from the NCAA, and they know it.
I
Why do you
cannot
think
wait.
if he wasn't guilty, why did Harbaugh run to the Chargers?
Why would you leave a championship team that you supposedly built?
Yeah,
I've never seen that happen. Oh, I'm going to go to the NFL now. No, dude, you don't do that.
Pete
if you're not
Carroll
guilty
did
of
that
something.
when he left USC.
Oh, yeah, damn Seahawks. But right now, I don't think. Excuse me, I'm still getting over sick.
Don't worry about it. You're fine. You're fine, brother. You're fine.
I don't think we should draft a quarterback this year. I say run it with Jameis. We got to run it with Jameis. I know we're going to start Deshaun Watson if he's healthy next year. My biggest concern is the offensive line. The offensive line is getting older. People are getting injury prone. We have Pro Bowl offensive linemen, and I'm all for that. Keep those guys as long as we can, but maybe you can cut down the payroll a little bit by getting rid of some of the older guys. And it's as much as that sucks to say it, it has to be done.
That's why I think Zach Zinter was drafted with that broken leg, because if he didn't break his leg, he could have been a late first-round pick. Instead, we got him in the 3rd round, kind of redshirted him this year, and he still needs to get stronger. Luke Whippler was another guy that could have started this year. Who's a draft pick of Barry's. There's some guys that took some time to develop. And other thing I thought too was, beside the Siaki Ika pick and Jed Wills, if Jed Wills was a 2nd-round pick and he was with us for 5 years, they wouldn't have thought much about it. And Grant Delpit was a 1st-round pick. They would have thought it was great. Delpit was a 2nd-round pick, and he got extended. He's a great pick. JOK, 2nd-round pick. Greg Newsome, he's a solid slot corner starter in the 1st round. But if he was, there's things that I'm just trying to say. People are trying to complain about his draft pick, so it's not 100% true at all. There's part of it. There's some that you can criticize, but you can do that with any team.
Oh yeah, for sure. On our show in the beginning of the year, we did a grading scale of Andrew Berry, and everything was like 2 is your highest, 1 or 1.5 is like a starting player, 1 is your transitional guys that can get on and off the field if needed, and 0.5 was your backups. You know what I mean? And we at the end of the day, we graded Andrew Berry an A- for all of his draft picks. And has all of them worked out? No, but do they all work out for every single other team? Nobody takes that into consideration. And I'm not an Andrew Berry hater. I'm not. But this is the first year where he's really going to get graded, because you got your 1st-round picks, man. You better use them wisely. That's all I have to say.
Do you think a guy like a Travis Hunter would be on the board when we're picking?
You know what? If I were to have to pick right now, that would be a solid pickup, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Why do you think we're going to win too many games between now and the end of the year?
I think so. I honestly do. I'm not saying, because I'm not going to say we're going to throw the year. We're not going to throw in the towel right now. You still got to show that you're. What I want this team to do is go out there and show that you're capable of winning games, and give this Cleveland fan base something to look forward to next year.
Yeah. Well, you think about it, since that Baltimore game when Winston started and they switched over the play calling and the line got healthy, we played 500.
Yeah.
So if we play 500 from here on out, that's 6 wins.
I made a post the other day, and everybody's like, "Oh, 2-2 against what teams?" I'm like, dude, 2 AFC North teams, which are crucial.
Which were 1st place teams at the time.
Right. And then the Chargers are pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not. Yeah.
They're a playoff. They had the best defense in the league.
Right. I'm not going to exclude them. That was a good game.
The Saints. This is Saints. This happens. Yeah, the Saints suck, but I mean,
that was a game I wish we really would have won. But you got to think Jameis Winston's getting out there, getting his feet back.
It was a defense that let down with those, because we were tied at 14. We gave up a punt return for a touchdown and 2 long touchdown runs. So it's just like, and the defense they played pissed against the Steelers, and you could tell. And I think George Pickens running his mouth after that Steelers game
Fuck that
doesn't
guy.
doesn't help. Yeah,
Sorry.
it doesn't help. Oh yeah, fuck that. Yeah, it's just like, dude, and it's like, I was talking about it with Johnny Cleveland. I'm like, dude, yeah.
Want to hear my favorite quote, dude?
What's that?
The Browns is the Browns.
Who said that?
That dickhead off of man. I usually don't cuss on our show, so I'm not used
Oh
to
yeah,
being
no,
able
no,
to.
go ahead. Yeah, I don't care.
But just another Pittsburgh guy. Just
You said the
another
Browns is
Pittsburgh
the
guy.
Browns, and you lost to him. Just
Yep.
finish that sentence. And you lost to him last 2 times you played them.
Enjoy that L.
Yeah, enjoy that out. Yeah. Oh my god, it's so infuriating because these people, because there was a time when I was in I'm a retired wrestler. I'm a retired pro
yeah.
wrestler.
Yeah.
And
I looked you up.
Oh, you did?
You got to, man.
Yeah, you see the belts behind me and shit.
And I watch your guys' show every once in a while. So yeah, I hear
thanks. I
bits and
appreciate it.
pieces.
Yeah, I hear no, it was just I was doing this interview. I was telling Cameron Justice about this because the guy found out I was from Cleveland. So this radio guy in North Carolina thought he'd be cute and tried to say, "Hey, it was this mistake by the lake." And I just kind of was like, "Well, what's the mistake here in North Carolina? Your employment?" And it was just like boom. And it was just like he didn't like expect the pushback. He thought I was just going to take a joke. And I was the heel wrestler. And I was like, no, seriously, why are you? I mean, if I really, he goes, well, he's like, well, I was just making a joke. I said, if I wanted a joke, I'd fire the men's room and watch you take a leak. It was just shit like that. And he was just like shocked. He was like, I guess, and you could see the people like that were in the booth were like, they were dying because I guess they didn't like the guy because he was a dickhead to the staff.
You can't mess around with Browns fans like that. I'm not going to sit there and say we take shit to heart, but we are sincere about our team. We're not bandwagon fans. We've dealt with this for longer than most of you are alive.
That's
and we still stand by our team every day, every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever day it is we're playing, we're standing by our team. And there's nothing you guys are going to say to hurt us because we've been through hell and back. So enjoy whatever banter you think you have against Browns fans, because we're just going to come back tenfold and make you look like an idiot. I mean,
yeah. Well, I said, okay, you got well. The one guy that Brent Larkin article said is most inept team in history, and I was like, well, wait a second. We have 8 world championships, 18 Hall of Famers, right? And the only fan base to fight to keep their team and win. No other fan base did what we did in the history of sports. None, never happened. And it's like, okay, so we're inept. And I said, but I put in my article, I said, well, why did this happen? Why from 1999 to 2019, the team pretty much sucked. Why did that happen for 20 years? Do you remember?
oh yeah,
I said, yeah, because we basically got screwed because we had to put together an expansion team in 10 months.
yep, and we did it.
We did it.
What should have been a pretty decent team. I mean, Tim Couch coming in would have been incredible, man, but we didn't build enough around him.
No, Ty Detmer, we could have won maybe four games that year with Ty Detmer, 4 or 5 maybe. Because I mean, it was just like Couch wasn't ready, and they rushed him out there. It's like they made knee jerk and rash decisions, but it's neither here nor there. Even Couch even said it. If he could go back, he could have sat a year and learned.
And that's what I don't want to do this year. I don't want to bring another quarterback here to die.
Yeah,
bring in a vet, the guy that knows the league. Let him play. Let him play a fucking snow game. Who cares? The guy's never played in snow. Right.
Let Winston play. If we get Drew Allar, let him sit for a year and let Winston play another year. I mean, there's no reason to rush anything because and just the whole process. I mean, people don't understand the process. Let me text Sherry and let her know I'm going to call her after this.
You can bring her. Tell her to come back in.
I tried to, but she was upset. She was upset. She said it's been a rough week, and yeah.
I had my second Thanksgiving today, so it's been a rough 2 days, man. I have not eaten chicken, which I'm used to eating probably once a day at least. In 2 days, my body's not acclimating to that correctly at all. But
yeah, go ahead. But back to what people don't understand that are outside of here and do this, because I mean, you're going to come at me with a burning with a mistake by the lake joke. You're going to give me jokes from the 70s. You're going to try to troll me. Fuck you. No, I'm not going to let you do that. You're not going to get the best of me that way. No, let's just talk. Let's talk football. Let's talk about this. And like some Steeler fans were trying. Well, you pay 230 million to a quarterback. I see how much salary cap space we have now. Well, that's 46 million salary cap space. We're supposed to be 8 million over next year. They're going to manage this cap situation. I'm not even really worried about it because basically after 2 years from now, Watson's gone.
Not
And
only
all,
that, I'm sorry. Do
no,
you
no,
know
no, no,
that
no. Go ahead.
we have insurance on Deshaun Watson, correct?
Yeah, he might not be able to play again.
Right. So we're getting money in return from him not playing, which
Mhm.
I'm not going to say it sucks. I can't sit here and say that it sucks for a
Yeah.
quarterback that was elite 5 years ago and is pure shit right now. And I don't care what anybody thinks about that. Deshaun Watson is pure shit right now. There's 3 games that the guy has where he showed somewhat of the talent that he had years ago. No, we don't need that. We don't need a guy that's going to show up for 3 games in 3 years. And we had a big argument on our page about it on Facebook. Just get it out of your head. The guy is not the guy we need.
No
matter
No,
what
I was
offensive
giving it.
coordinator.
Yeah, I was giving it a chance for a while, and he had the suspension. Then he got hurt. Then he got hurt again. He had a bad year, and he was getting hurt. And it was just like it's done. I think the team knows it's done too, and they're already. And the other thing too about they're already thinking in the future. People are the national guys before the game, before the Steelers game, the Thursday night game. They were sitting there, and like Albert Breer, Ian Rappaport, and I wanted to think who was the other guy, Adam Schefter. They all came out and said that we hear nothing about Stefanski and Barry being fired. We're hearing nothing about this. We don't know where this is coming from. I know where it's coming from. It's coming from the local people that are trying to get clicks. That's just the nature of the beast that we're in now. The Tony Grossi guy, he said, I'm getting this vibe that they won't play younger players. And other people like myself came on our shows and said, well, wait a second. They traded Zadarius Smith and they're going to play Isaiah McGuire and Ogbo Okoronkwo in that position. They traded Amari Cooper and started playing Cedric Tillman. They sat Jedrick Wills to play DeJuan Jones. I mean, what does that tell you? They're playing younger players.
Thank God.
Don't pay attention to what they say. Pay attention to what they do. That's how they're going to talk to you. That's kind of my whole point back what you were saying earlier. Like, pay attention to, like, when it comes to JOK, they didn't put him on the season-ending IR. He can come back in 2 weeks. Now, if he doesn't, then there's a problem. But if he does, then it's great. They're just not saying anything, which drives people crazy. I know that. It drives the media crazy. Hey, Brian, thanks for being on the show, Brian. Thank you. Oh yeah.
I am not completely against Kevin Stefanski or Andrew Berry either. I think they're both very smart guys.
Most people I talk to were okay with it. Go ahead.
Not a lot of people understand that though. It's just somebody to put the blame on. That's all that is. You can't sit there and say that Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, all that shit is just a participation trophy to me. It's nothing. It means literally nothing except Defensive Player of the Year right now because fuck TJ Watt. I don't care about Steelers fans. I don't care about Steelers. When that guy went on his podcast and said, you know what, I hope Myles Garrett tears his ACL. Did you see that?
No.
Some dude in a Pittsburgh podcast from Barstool was like, I hope Myles Garrett tears his ACL. And I'm like, wow. And then he's like, no, you didn't say that. No, the football guys, he didn't mean it. And he's like, yeah, I take it back. And I'm like, too late now, motherfucker. You don't wish injury upon anybody. Even when Deshaun Watson goes down, you don't cheer. And
there was a guy when Watson got hurt and he tore his Achilles. Were you there?
I was not at that game.
I was there. Most of the fans cheering were Bengals fans. And there was a reel going out while he was being carted off. You heard a chant of, you deserve it.
That was a wrestling thing.
It didn't happen.
That was a wrestling thing.
It didn't happen. Yep. I was there. It didn't happen. Because some other people were telling me that at the Baltimore game. I said, no, that didn't happen. I was here. It didn't happen. So I'm a season ticket holder. I've been to every game. So there was a guy that I don't know who this dude was. Okay. But there were some women on Brown's Twitter that I was really, really upset with because they agreed with what this guy was saying. He was basically talking shit about Watson he first said it was sexual assault he was charged with, but then he's like, oh no, it was actually sexual misconduct, which it was. It was sexual misconduct. He did have another allegation, but when I read the report, it sounded like it was a crime, but there was no charges brought to him, probably because there wasn't evidence. But it was another lawsuit. He ended up settling it. Okay. Now, he was saying that he played bad. Okay, you can criticize his play, you can criticize his character based on the allegations. All right. But he was saying that what the fans came out and said, like what guys like Jameis Winston came out and said it, Myles Garrett came out and said it, don't cheer when a player gets hurt because you got to respect the game. And my point was, I said, that little pissant never put on a helmet and played a down of football in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And the one woman's like, well, what does that mean? It doesn't mean he can't have an opinion. You post political stuff. Were you ever president? And I said, no, but I vote and I participate and I pay my taxes. So I have a say. And
Hey,
then
man, it's great to be an American.
Yeah. And I basically told her, and I said, look, you can have an opinion. Opinion is the lowest form of human knowledge you'll ever have because it can be based on absolutely nothing. Listen to what that guy said, because he said at the end, he goes, yeah, it's not right to cheer a player when he's hurt, but he's no longer their quarterback. So they have the right to cheer that. Well, why is he no longer the quarterback? Because he got hurt. You could at least, you didn't have to do that. And it was the Bengals fans that were doing it mostly from where I was at. And it's just, and I actually wrote an article about it saying, look, respect the game. Now that what that podcaster did from Pittsburgh, wishing for another player to be hurt, fuck him. I would, if I was on his show, I would have tore into him.
I had actually invited him to our show. I said, hey, bitch, 2 weeks, come to our show. We got you. Come on.
Come on.
I don't give a fuck if you're a part of Barstool Sports or not, dude. Come on our show, please.
Yeah, say that shit here. Say that shit here.
Yeah, and he won't. He never even responded to us, and I'm not expecting a response. But at the end of the day, I don't give a shit if you're a Baltimore fan, you're a Baltimore player, you're the Steelers player.
Yeah,
it could be whatever. I want to play a team at their fullest at all times to show which team is genuinely better.
Mm-hmm.
And with this roster that we have, we should be genuinely better. So my question to you is, what do you think is the common denominator of this team right now? What do you think is burying this team this year?
What do I think is burying it, or what buried it? What buried it from the beginning was the quarterback play and the injuries in the offensive line. That's really what it was. That was the beginning of it. We start out 1-6. It's hard to recover. We were like, yeah, we were 1-6. We went into the Steelers game 2-8, and I reported live. I was in the stadium and I had my phone and the wind's howling and the snow.
I think I remember that. I think I watched that.
Yeah, I couldn't hear him. I couldn't hear him screaming. I can't hear you. So I was just showing this, but it was like one of those games where you knew anything could happen, and we were leading 10-3 at halftime. Nick Chubb had a touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns. I called it Chubb's revenge game. So, and the thing was, I gave Steeler fans credit when Chubb got hurt. They actually showed class with that.
You heard them. You heard them all when they watched replay on the big screen.
Oh,
the whole stadium was like, "Oh!" Like, yeah. Nobody was cheering. That's our best player. Obviously, people in our division and people want him to go down. I'm not going to say that. People would like to see us not have our best player, if that makes sense, without big injury. Maybe a game or the rest of the game be out, but not a season-ending injury, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that happens. There are low blows in the NFL. We see it all the time. I'm not going to say that was what happened to Nick Chubb. I can't fully say that hit on Nick Chubb at that Steelers game was on purpose.
Well, you mean that it was a dirty hit?
Yeah, I don't think it was a dirty hit at all. It was. People don't realize how quick plays happen, and you watch it in slow motion. You see a guy diving we were at the goal line, right? I mean, you see a guy diving. That's what they're going to do at the goal line. You're all going to dive at the line because Nick Chubb's coming up the middle. You're going to dive at the line, and you may not know where you're going to hit or who you're going to hit. Just happen to be Nick Chubb's knee.
And even better was they chanted his name when he carted off, and they showed class. And I gave credit. I even wrote about it. I gave credit to him for doing that. So, guys, like I said, the people that never played, the most athletic thing they've done is run their mouth. Like there was a guy, who's the guy? Adam the Bull. You know what I'm talking about?
93.
Yeah, he was talking about DeJuan Jones with his weight problem, and I'm like, really? you're going to talk about this when you've
You're the
never.
biggest. He even say he calls himself out as, I'm a big dude, but they get fined for each like 7 pounds that they're overweight.
Oh yeah, they have to force them to manage their weight. Now, DeJuan Jones is a professional athlete. He started
Oh
at
yeah,
left tackle in the NFL. He actually was doing a very good job. The broken leg happens. I mean, football's a rough game. It's the shit that happens. So, uh, and it's just one of those things that happens. But the thing that concerned me about what Adam the Bull said, he was really matter of fact saying, "Yeah, I'm probably going to die." Like he knew his health was deteriorating because of his weight, and I'm like, dude, do something about it. You control it. Do something about it. What's wrong with you? Don't you have a family? Don't you care? So I even told him, I challenged him, I said, man, come to me. I'll take you to the gym. I'll get you going. But most people, when it comes to putting in the work, they don't want to do it. And
right.
that's really the hard thing. And a lot of times when it comes to being a fan and putting in the work, meaning you're going to go through some shit, especially as a Browns fan, you're going to go through some shit. And people like to troll and run their mouths when they don't have any accountability, meaning you don't get punched in the face for it, but when you have any opportunity to get punched in the face for being a jerk, you kind of shut your mouth a little bit.
I mean, my biggest thing is like you and I both run podcasts.
Yeah.
It is all opinion based. We all have our own opinions. We all
Hmm.
think differently. We all think alike at times. Nobody understands that. I had some guy on my show yesterday or 2 days ago talking shit about, oh, you guys are here for the clicks. And I'm like, dude, no. It was on a Jameis Winston post and his stats over Deshaun Watson's. I'm like, how are you going to sit there and say I'm talking shit about? I'm not talking shit about Deshaun Watson. I'm saying Jameis Winston's stats are completely better, and he's making passes that you would never see Deshaun Watson make. It's kind of simple theory. I mean, I would imagine, but you got these fans that are DW4 guys, man. That's their quarterback, and that's it.
No, I can't believe that. I mean, there's Baker Bros that were like that too, but the same people that wanted Baker Mayfield gone wanted him back, and then, they same people complaining about Flacco. Well, Flacco got benched, so I mean, everybody wants what we used to be here. So there were talks about bringing back Dorsey, John Dorsey, and I'm like, guys, no. I think if I was a billionaire owner like Jimmy Haslam, and I'm putting hundreds of millions of dollars into this team and onto the field, and it's not going well, I would sit down with my guys that are running the team and say, "What's the plan to fix this? What are we going to do?" So you would think he would do that, and then once he does that, it would come back like, okay, if he likes what he hears, he'll stick with them. If he doesn't, he might make changes. That's just the way that's just I said that. So obviously they must have had these meetings and they must have talked to each other and said, what are we doing? So that's my thought. That's my thinking. There's probably behind closed doors meetings that are happening right now.
I agree. And you see that new thing that comes out about Baker. It says all Haslam's and Barry had to do, and Kevin Stefanski is have a man-to-man meeting to themselves and sit there and talk about it rather than just, oh, we're going to bring Deshaun Watson here. Don't get me wrong. I love Baker and I still do. I have him on my fantasy team, man, because he is a guy that can make things happen. And you don't know if it's going to happen or not, but when it does, it's beautiful. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say that I would rather have Baker here than somebody else right now. But I think if we would have kept him, would you have seen the same thing as you would have seen with Deshaun Watson? Or no? I don't think so, because Baker wasn't really much of a scrambler.
No.
Also, another fact that I want to bring up is this line built for a scrambling quarterback?
No.
I don't think so either, because one,
It's
you
more of a
got your,
pocket.
yes, and pocket quarterbacks do better with play action. It works almost every time.
Mm-hmm.
How's that? I mean, if you're going to put a quarterback in the backfield shotgun with no running back, oh, they're going to pass the ball. You got no back out there. What? I mean, come on.
Right. Okay, and on that note, just so you know, I got to pause for a break from our sponsors. Let's just do that right now and go. Okay, we're back. Thank you. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for those sponsors. Also, check out Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. Links in the description of the show. Click on the link, order up some good coffee. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining us. So moving forward here, I think somebody's coming back. We got somebody coming back. Hold on. We might have somebody joining us here. Hold on. Maybe not. I don't know. It looks like they might be there. I'll wait till I see them. I'll wait till I see him. We might have somebody with Sherry. That might be Sherry. We'll have to wait and see. But but back to it. Did she lose her internet?
Boo.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Well, okay, a guy to look out for in the draft, second round, UNC running back, Marion Hampton. Have you heard of him?
Yes.
I could see him as a second round pick, almost
I
like how we
would.
got.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a good, solid running back to be there with Nick Chubb.
Mhm.
You can bring that back, that two-headed horse with him.
Yeah,
That's huge.
Marion Hampton would be a great second round pick. Go ahead.
I was going to say my only downfall is with Ken Dorsey's heavy pass playing
Hmm.
or play calling. Could that be an issue? I mean, we obviously last game we ran the ball 27 times, passed 27 times, I believe it was.
Mm.
So you have an equal pass run. I mean,
yeah, she disappeared. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. I'm going to text her now.
she's in all Browns gear.
I don't know what happened. Yeah, I just went ahead and sent her another text. So yeah, that you see, you thinking with the pass heavy. I don't know. I know they have Nick Chubb on a pitch count. They got him on a
Snap count. Yeah.
snap count. So that's why. And plus, with the New Orleans game, he didn't run that much because they had the Thursday night game, and then you got a short week too because we're in Denver. Now, this is something else I thought was interesting. Speaking of the Denver, we were going to preview it, but we kind of went on different things, and I'm kind of all over the place. Bo Nix was on the injury report with a back injury. I don't know how serious this is.
I did not see nothing about that yet, but I will definitely look into that.
Injury report: quarterback Bo Nix, Bengals improved. Let's see. Let me see. This is from the Broncos. I'm looking it up right now as we speak.
Do you want some fun facts while you're looking that up?
Sure, go ahead.
Do you know the Denver Broncos have a 600% win rate in Denver because of the elevation?
Yep.
Exactly at 5,280 feet, 1 mile. That's why it's called Mile High Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
There's been players that have left there with sickle cell anemia, have had like organs removed from their body because the elevation is horrible there. And on average, it takes a player or anybody that goes to Denver from like the East Coast over here 18 days to acclimate to that elevation.
I've been to Denver. I have. On
Did you feel like shit?
No, I was fine. I was fine. I did cardio and everything. I don't know. I was just I didn't know if that would be an issue or not, but I went and did 30 minutes of cardio like I normally do. He was a full participant in practice. He had a back injury. So he participant today in practice. He said he's good to go. So I didn't think too much of it when I first heard that he was listed on the injury report. So I figured he was probably going to play.
I'm glad. I do want to play our defense against Bo Nix, and hopefully they could expose him with something significant that this defense hasn't been able to pull off this year with the miscommunication. That's my biggest thing, man, is we all know it. The old saying goes, defense wins championships or games.
Mm-hmm.
And for our defense to have so many miscues this year has been insane. Going from one of the number one defenses to 17th, 18th, whatever we are now. I haven't looked it up, but
we're mid-level, I think.
Yeah, like so I think we're in like 17, yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, we're mid-level now, and a lot of it, like what happened with the Chargers, and each guy was taking responsibility for the miscues. And Mary Kay said maybe it had something to do with Denzel Ward's mental state because of the concussions. If there's an independent doctor let him play. So, the people that are most concerned about his concussions are the reporters. He said he's fine if you give yourself time to recover. So he's gone by what other doctors have told him. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to play doctor on that. My thing was those miscommunications was just, it was unfortunate that happened, but it was obvious it happened. You got to clean that shit up. In other words, and like I said, a couple big plays against the Saints, a couple big plays against the Chargers. That's what killed us. It also, I'm trying to think. There was another thing that There was a thing with Ryan Tucker was on Nick Wilson's 92.3 The Fan show. Did you hear about this? Like they were talking about, like he basically said the culture's fine in Cleveland and to keep Stefanski, and he was a former NFL player. And the way Nick Wilson was like, well, but there's mistakes and penalties that's happening. He's like, yeah, that happens in a game. People make mistakes, penalties happen, mistakes happen. You try to minimize them, but he basically said this: if we go through getting rid of everybody, it's going to be every 2 or 3 year cycle again. It's because we have guys that have proven that can do it.
Oh yeah.
Versus, we have something here. Let's fix what we have. Versus trying to, all right, let's fire everybody. I've heard people say this. It's just it doesn't work.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah, but and I've told Steeler fans this too. I've said this to Steeler fans when they want to get rid of Tomlin. I said, dude, if that guy gets fired within 24 hours, he'll have another job. He'll have another job in the NFL.
Oh yeah,
somewhere. He will have another. And they said, well, they can have him. I'm like, you want to go through every 2-3 years of having a new coach? Go right ahead.
We say that on our team, our show all the time. Like the way Pittsburgh wins is the Mike Tomlin effect. He is a great coach. You can't not say that.
Yeah.
As much as I hate Pittsburgh, I'm not going to sit here and say Mike Tomlin's a horrible coach because he's not.
No, he's
guy's
not.
Smart as well. And he will have just like Mike Vrabel. Everybody's let's bring Mike Vrabel in as the head coach of the Browns. Like Tennessee Titans. So when we lost the Browns, the Tennessee Titans became my favorite team.
Okay.
And I followed that forever until we got the Browns back. And they're still my second favorite team. I follow them, but Mike Vrabel is a smart, good coach. But I think Stefanski's better. I think it would be awesome to have Mike Vrabel as an assistant head coach, maybe, or make the guy something better than what he is now. I want that guy on the sidelines.
He might have a different role next year. He's gonna. He's been on the sidelines lately. See with John, what John likes, he wants to see that emotion and that fire on the sideline. That's not Stefanski's style.
Right.
Where a lot of Bill Cowher lovers like to see that.
That Cowher-esque attitude.
Yeah, because it was one of the things. It's a wrestling thing. They say sell with your face. Like let them see their facial expressions while you're in there. People will get behind you. They'll identify with it. That's what that made Hulk Hogan's career because he could do that as a big guy. That's why the crowd got behind him. So that's and people identified with that passion with Bill Cowher like that. And I met Cowher when he was a linebacker for the Browns, the '82 strike year. I was in 3rd grade. They were practicing behind my elementary school.
I was 7 years old.
Yeah, I was 9. So it was a fun time. It was a fun time back then. So I got to meet Cowher back then. So it's just there's so much. Like every coach has his own style. Belichick's not that fire and brimstone type of guy on the sideline. He might be
but
like
he
that.
Scares people, man.
He's like that. Nick Saban was the same way, but I'm trying to think who was the guy. Tom Landry was very.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't like that, but man, I'm sure in the locker room he was like a prick. Vince Lombardi. He yelled all the time. I mean, so there's different types of coaches that accomplish this. I think who's one that didn't show a lot of emotion? Chuck Noll with the Steelers. He didn't. But the one thing I did like back, it was like in the late '80s, just before he retired, he hated Jerry Glanville and he hated Sam Weish.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because he's like, who are these assholes? Who these guys think they are? They didn't win anything. They're running their mouths, and he was just, whew. I mean, he got into Jerry Glanville's grill about cheap shots and everything. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was one of those things. Go ahead.
Do you know who I love the most right now in the NFL as a coach? I want you to take one guess.
As a coach?
As a head coach. Not in our division.
Not in our division. In our conference?
No. Yes. No.
Okay.
I'll just say it. Unless you want to take that guess.
No, go ahead.
Dan Campbell.
I was going to say, I was about to think. He was like, speaking of which, did you know the Bears fired their coach today?
Yeah, I was kind of expecting that.
The way that game, he had a timeout. He could have called timeout from the sideline.
Why didn't you kick the field goal?
Why didn't you try to at least kick a field goal from there, call a timeout, obviously they couldn't get organized. Once it got down to like 5 or 4 or 3 seconds, I mean, you could have called a timeout at least with 10 seconds or 15 seconds to go, and then talk it over. And you could have, I mean, use that timeout, especially when that was happening. Yeah,
You could have tied the game and went to overtime and had a chance against one of the number one teams in the league. But
they were getting blown out in the first half. I mean, basically Chicago. I mean, that should have been a 23-0 halftime score.
absolutely. But what happened? And Dan Campbell said it at the end of the game. He's like, you know what? This game is won by defenses at the end of the locker room speech. And he's like, defense, you guys stepped up and made it happen. And I'm sitting there at my uncle's house because it's Thanksgiving and I'm watching
Yeah,
this game.
I'm at my parents'. Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, dude. Like, Detroit's probably my third favorite team, and it's been that way forever. I was born in Toledo. A lot of my family is Michigan fans, which I can't stand, but I like and respect the Detroit Lions. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I
I'm
can't
rooting for 'em.
stand. Yeah, I cannot stand Michigan. I have a lot of
Yeah.
friends that are from up there that live in Spencer by me now, and I
Mhm.
have family that are Michigan fan. Man, nope. But Detroit Lions, get it.
No, well, there was a time in the 50s the Browns and Lions were rivals. They were playing for the NFL title. The thing that changed with that was the 1970 AFL NFL merger. We became an AFC team. We didn't play them as often. We're actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, next year we'll be going to Detroit.
Yeah, I think we play them every other year.
With like they do the rotation. We're playing the NFC North. And we'll be going to, if I'm not mistaken, to Chicago and to Detroit, and we will have Minnesota here and Green Bay here, if I'm not mistaken. And then we play the AFC East, and I guess it depends on, we will probably play an AFC team from another division based on where we finish, and an AFC West team. But we will host 9 games next year if they don't go to the 18-game season. So we'll have to see. I think they're going to do that soon in the NFL.
Oh yeah, it has to happen. I'm so sick of preseason, man. Not only that, like this year when we all thought Deshaun Watson should have been out there playing and could have helped him, and then you see him come in. I was at the Dallas game, dude. That was the worst game I've ever been to. I'm like, this is bad. Like
it was we had like 45 yards of total offense in the first half.
Yep.
And we're just like, we're sitting there going like, what's going on? What's happening? What are it was just bad. The Giants was bad too. And we actually had a chance at the end of that game.
Yep.
Yeah, we did. And Cedric Tillman dropped that 4th down, but I mean, it's just, we still had it. I mean, there was other. Well, the thing that turned the game around for the Giants was that roughing the passer call that was complete.
Not
BS.
even. Yeah, dude.
It was not even close. He didn't even get knocked over. Then against the Commanders, Watson gets drilled with the crown of the helmet to his chin, and they don't do anything. Nothing. And I'm sitting there going, what's going on here? So that's why I think. I think that the Watson experiment's over, and I think that they're gonna look to move on in the bridge. In the meantime, it could be Winston. I think they're gonna base it on how he plays till the end of the season. But if he keeps doing what he's doing,
if he could stop the interceptions and make plays happen like he has been, I don't see any reason he shouldn't be here.
Yeah, I agree. He almost had a couple interceptions against Baltimore.
I was at the game and I watched 3 get dropped. I'm like, thank you, please, football god. And that game was strictly for Jimmy Donovan, man. I was sitting in like I said, I was in the club seats right there at Jimmy Donovan's booth, man. And I'm not gonna lie, after that game ended, everybody stood up and hugged one another. It was that's all this team needs to do is play a good football game. And this city will reunite like they have never done before. You get to the playoffs again. This city is on fire every single time.
Oh yeah, you bring a championship to this city, a Super Bowl championship, and that will make the Cavaliers celebration in 2016 look like an intimate gathering of family and friends. It would be a party like you've never seen before.
Oh, absolutely. You're gonna have to bring the fucking army here.
Yeah, we'll have the National Guard and the army.
Right.
It's just going to be. And the thing was, 2016 when that happened, I moved from North Carolina like 4 months later. I was here for the World Series when the Indians were playing the Cubs, and I still call them the Indians.
So
So
do I.
yeah, it's like I said, people, you got to be from here to understand it, to really understand it. And it's just one of those things that I just, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go along with it. And I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to just try to explain it away in a way that you can't really do it. Either you know it or you understand it, you lived it, you breathe it, or you don't. And that people like don't, a lot of times fans from other cities like, well, how do you support this team? I said, we fought to keep the team. Most people don't even know what happened 30 years ago with
Right.
the Art Modell thing, or how it happened, or why it happened. I even put that in the article. I said, you know what happened in 1989? They voted for a syntax in Cuyahoga County to pay for Jacobs Field and Gund Arena. They did nothing for the Browns when they could have had something in place for the Browns, or they could have worked something out. And they didn't wait till after Art Modell died to say something. That, oh, we had a spot for him in Orange Avenue. We were going to build a new stadium there by the post office, which that was bullshit. What you waited till after he died to say something?
They're still saying that now. Like Orange
Yeah,
State, the post office
yeah,
could be the new Brown Stadium. And I'm like, no, guys are full of shit. You said that 25 years ago, 30
yeah.
years ago.
It's like, and they're trying. Then they come out with a rendering on Burke Lakefront, which is
The
not
day
available.
after we
Yeah.
say that we're building this in Brook Park, that's it. And then Cleveland's like, yeah, we're going to sue you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, 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 no. You're fine. You're fine. Well, I talked to a guy. I was at Top Dog Tailgate. You know where that's at? West Third and Summit.
Yeah.
I was there, and I talked to a guy there that he already was telling me, like, he has inside information that there's already contract bids ready to go. They're going to probably be breaking ground in the spring. He says he could see a holdup with the litigation for about 2 years. He says it's possible it couldn't open until 2031, but they're not going, they're going to still be called the Cleveland Browns. They're going to be
Right.
playing a stone's throw away from Cleveland. It's ridiculous that they're going to try to pull the Art Modell law. They're just politicians being idiots. And they had that waterfront is a joke. It should have been developed decades ago, and they've done nothing. And Haslam knows, he's a businessman. He's smart. He knows he's dealing with bureaucratic idiots. He knows what's happening. It, that's why I'm here. When I hear taxpayer money, no, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Look what's happening now. And that was it. That was my point. But thinking about the Denver game Monday night, national television, Denver's a red hot team. But you know what? The Steelers were a red hot team when they came here. Baltimore was a red hot team when they came here. I'd feel better if they were coming here on Monday Night Football. Going there, it's going to be difficult. Going to Pittsburgh is going to be difficult the week later on a short week. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to this game more than anything.
The Denver game?
The Denver game. Oh, yeah, because we're doing for the Pittsburgh game. I'm going to announce this real quick. For the Pittsburgh game, we're actually doing a live show at my buddy's house. It's a bar setting. We're going to be doing a live feed of us watching the game. And it's going to be cool. But this game, this Bronco game with the win-loss ratio, I hope this defense gets pumped enough to go out there and step on some Broncos, man.
Have some oxygen masks. Have some oxygen masks on the sidelines. We've beaten them in Denver before. We did it. It's not unheard of.
I think.
Yeah, we have. We've done it before. It's not unheard of. It's rare, but keep in mind, you know, a rookie quarterback against a Jim Schwartz defense looks good too. I would say let's see what happens. There's a reason why they play the games. In one game, anything could happen. Another thing I thought was interesting, which was last night, Miami lost to Green Bay in Green Bay in a cold weather game. They're coming here December 29th, a Sunday night game, and they haven't won a game in years that's been below 32 degrees.
Right.
So, you know, you think it's going to be below 32 degrees that game? I'm going to be there.
Yeah, but you got to also think about Jameis Winston coming here and never playing a snow game and beating Pittsburgh at home. So, I mean, that guy acclimated real quick.
Yeah, he's practicing in it.
Yeah, exactly. So another thing is, I'm going to call this right now on your show. I usually do it on mine, but on your show, I'm going to call Myles Garrett with another 2.5 sacks this game. Every time I've called 2 sacks for Myles, he gets 3.
Okay.
I'm going to go 2.5 this time.
Good. Go. Let's have it. Let's have it happen.
Shut down Bo Nix and that offense, and we have a win.
Yeah, we shut it down. We have a win. Yeah, we could do it. It's possible. It's all possible. And I think if as long as Nick Chubb's productive, which I think he will be, I think we have an opportunity for sure. I also think I it plus the last game of the season, which we probably not going to be competing for a division title. Probably not. All right. And if Baltimore's set for the division, they could be resting all their guys.
Oh yeah.
And the Cincinnati game got moved from Thursday night because I felt bad. I didn't like going into Cincinnati on a Thursday night. It's a Sunday. It's a regular week. So we have a shot. We match up well against Cincinnati. We
Not only
match
that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, we match up well against most of the division too because we play them well. But go ahead.
One, I want to split the Battle of Ohio this year. I think that would be awesome for this team.
Mhm.
Something to look forward to next year and build off of that. Two, I think that Jim Schwartz and his defense really, really have to get their shit together to dominate in games. We have a dominating roster. This needs to happen now. Like I said earlier, you bring this team together and you build morale. There's no reason you shouldn't be winning big games. The rest of the year, we should be able to win. If the locker room setting is correct and Nick Chubb comes back and has a huge hunt, I'm waiting for this guy to just pop off a game. I've never been so in awe of something happening besides Nick Chubb coming out here and popping off 120-yard game with 2 more touchdowns. And him, he took that his contract got what is the word I'm looking for?
Reduced.
Yeah, they reduced, but he has all opportunity to get his contract money back with season play.
Mm-hmm.
And I want him to, I'm not going to say earn that money. That guy's earned all the respect and dignity he should have by far.
Absolutely.
He's the most humble guy in the league.
Before we go, do you see him coming back next year?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Him and Myles Garrett are hands down going to be here for, I think, the remainder of their career.
Yep. I was saying that to Johnny Cleveland on our Stir in the Pot show. I was like, I think he's coming back. I think they're going to draft a guy too, but I think he's coming back. I mean, when Andrew Berry drafts, he's thinking 2 or 3 years down the road, especially with third round and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to find maybe some impact players. And now if a guy like a Travis Hunter is available when we're picking, hands down, great pick. But he probably won't be there. I don't want Shadir Sanders. I don't want Ward. I don't want these guys. I like when the Caleb Williams people. I didn't really care for him either.
I don't want to do that. Paints his fingernails. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I was arguing with the girls on the ladies on the squad pod about it. Oh no, it's fine. I'm like, no. You should have heard. There was this. I don't. This isn't a political show, but I did do this because there was a woman on Twitter. I don't think she was just Lady D or something because she posted up this meme and said, "Bees produce honey, women produce babies. What do men produce?" And I responded. I said, "If you drive in a car, you drive on a paved road, you use electricity, you use the internet, you live in a apartment building or in a house, you work in an office building, and you enjoy your freedom and your security, all of that is produced and provided to you by a team of men. All of it. So if you're wondering, what you're taking for granted right now while you post this is provided to you by men.
Equal rights.
It's equal rights. Not saying women can't do these jobs.
Right.
They just choose not to. They choose not to.
There are some out there that are badasses that do it, though.
Absolutely. There's some women I've seen on construction sites that do it, and I'm not taking anything away from them. But the vast majority, I'm talking 80, 90%, at least 80, 90% are men that do it. And there are badass women out there. Absolutely there are. And I respect them. Hell, my best friends from wrestling and bodybuilding were women. But we respected each other. What that woman posted was completely disrespectful and had no clue as to what she has. So, yeah.
You want to know why I respect my wife? She hits harder than most men that I know. So I just don't mess with her. I just leave her alone. And
my wife's not like that. But I respected her. Do you have kids? Do you mind me asking? Were you in the room when they were born?
Yes.
So was I. That's why I respect my wife.
Oh, for sure. Hands down, dude. There's nothing more beautiful than a
Mhm,
woman giving birth to your child. And I will forever say that. I don't give a
mhm,
shit if anybody thinks that that's a nasty thing. That is your child being born. That is your
mhm.
next of kin. That is your
Funny story. I had a cup of ice water with a straw, and I kept between pushes. I was giving it to her, and I was coaching her along and everything. And she's like, "I feel like I'm in the corner of a fight." And then she started going, "Cut me, Mick. Cut me, Mick." It
dude.
was our first. It was our first. I have 2 daughters,
I
so
have two daughters and a boy, and I woke up at 1 a.m. to my daughter being born, and she's like, "Get over here!" And I'm like, "Oh shit, it's time!" Like I worked all day, and then went to the hospital after work, and so one of my old bosses said this about kids, and this is a living legend. Okay, the
mhm.
first year you want them to walk and talk, right?
Yeah.
The next 17 is sit down and shut the fuck up.
I like that. I
Yes.
like that. I like that is true because once they like become mobile, you're like, "Oh, Jesus, what are you getting into?" And it's like they're toddlers and they're just like, "Oh my God." Then after that, it's like, yeah,
Well,
they
now
talk.
here's the thing. All right, so my daughter is 20, my son is 18, my other daughter is 17, my
Mhm.
stepkids are 17 and 12.
Wow.
So as they get older and they start driving, like my daughter just drove home. She left right before we started this. And me as a father, like
Mhm.
it's snowing and dude, you get so nervous and scared and you're waiting for that call for them to get home. And, dude, you never stop caring. You're gonna never stop being a parent.
You never stop worrying about your kids. Oh yeah, absolutely. On
Just like we
100%.
never stop worrying about the fucking
Right.
Browns.
And we're not gonna and we're gonna continue to worry. And always remember, we're going to wrap up the show now. When the river burns, it burns brown and orange. Thank you, Mike, for being here. It was a pleasure. I'd love to come on your show whenever you want. Sherry, we'll
Absolutely.
talk to you. We'll get back to you. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great night.